My name is Truong. I'm a proud Colorado native, a senior at the University of Colorado at Colorado Springs, and Greenhouse Scholar, class of 2017. I'm also a child of Vietnamese immigrants. My parents spoke no English, had not a single relative in Colorado, and knew nothing of American culture. Yet, they came to this country with dignity and hope. Both my parents held odd jobs, such as washing dishes, working at a factory to put food on the table. They weren't able to attend school events or pay for field trips or extra pencils like most other parents. But I always knew where they stood in education. Education was my #1 priority, and my parents instilled in me that education was my only way to break the cycle of poverty. To bridge the cultural gap, I turned to sports. I noticed right away that socioeconomic status didn't matter in sports, but dedication and talent did. I poured myself into the sport of judo. I was determined to excel and had Olympic aspirations. I began competing all over the world, earning a spot on the junior national team and junior world team, training at the Olympic Training Center, and becoming a silver and bronze senior national medalist. Through judo, I elevated my understanding of sacrifice and discipline. Those values eventually sustained me through the most difficult time of my life. Over the years, my father, who was also my coach, struggled with rage. What began as emotional abuse also turned into physical abuse. One night, during my junior year of high school, it got so bad that I was forced to choose between my home and my well-being. I packed my bags and I took my sister with me. I had no idea where we would go or how that would affect my Olympic dreams. For 6 months, we bounced around, staying with friends. Eventually, my sister and I were emancipated from my parents and found wonderful guardians through our judo family. For years, my father told me that my success was solely tied to his influence. Now I have to rely on my judo community and myself. Neither let me down. At the same time, I was preparing for the Miami World Cup competition. I was training twice a week, working, going to school, and taking care of my sister. I remember waking up one snowy Saturday morning with a sprained ankle and several broken toes, and no desire to get out of bed, but I had to. I had to earn money by shoveling snow on the weekends. I remember feeling exhausted to the point of giving up, but I got up. I got up every morning and kept going. Judo was my constant during the storm, and I took that same focus and discipline and made sure I was on the path to college. At the Miami World Cup, I competed against 400 other fighters from across the world. I won bronze and later became the youngest US male to be internationally ranked in judo. I ranked 94th in the world. Soon afterward, I graduated as valedictorian of my high school. My next biggest challenge was getting to college. I did not have parents who would help me with the enormous financial burden. I was on my own. After being accepted to the University of Colorado, I became a Greenhouse Scholar, and the financial support got me to college. The additional support I received from Greenhouse Scholars would help me in my path once there. I knew I wanted to be in a profession that helped people, and one of my teammates suggested I would make a great doctor. I took a biology class and thought he might be right. It was with Greenhouse Scholar support that I fully understood my passion. With flex funding, I was able to accept 2 research positions. The first at Duke University, where I studied the correlation between genotypes and concussions. The next at the National Institute for Health in North Carolina, enabled me to complete research on the mechanisms of mutation. These life-changing opportunities were also critical for my acceptance into medical school. I would not have had these experiences. I would not have had these experiences if not for Greenhouse Scholars. I was, and continue to be, excited about the path I am on. At Summer Symposium, I also gained a strong group of peers, developed friendships that challenged me to really think about my future and my impact. My fellow scholars are unlike any other people I've met. I gained instrumental and influential friendships with scholars like Will Brandon and Brad Goldsberry, whom I will be connected to for the rest of my life. I've learned you're only as good as the community you surround yourself with. and this community showed me that with enough vibrations, you can create a wave of change. There's a quote by Martin Luther King Jr. that has always resonated with me. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I truly believe Greenhouse Scholars is a community that is determined to bend the arc further. Without question, the community catalyzed my ability to have an impact. I've gone back to the junior program at the Olympic Training Center to talk to younger generations about empowerment, action, and integrity. I am a tutor at the science lab where I share my tips on the med school application process. I have volunteered at a hospice center and worked in an ER. And I led a project focusing on foot injuries among the homeless population. It confirmed to me the misperceptions and stereotypes are very real and very harmful. I better understand the vectors that force people into difficult situations, and I vow to fight for equity. I think about how differently my own situation could have turned out without a community of support which allowed me dignity and opportunity. My dream in the short term is to work to eradicate health disparities. I want to right socioeconomic wrongs, and I'm proud to say I'm on my way to becoming a medical doctor. With an acceptance rate of less than 2%, I'll be one of 180 students at the UCLA Medical School this fall. I also want to shape the world in a broader way. I plan to go into healthcare policy, and perhaps even politics, so I can tackle systemic issues that plague our country for a longer, broader, more lasting effect. Without Greenhouse, I know with absolute certainty, I would not have made it this far. The personal, professional, and financial support allowed me to find numerous opportunities and gave me knowledge and skills I will share with others. As I said previously, my role in bending the arc of the moral universe towards justice is much more clear. I ask you to join me in this endeavor to lift up the communities that need it most and receive it the least. With Greenhouse Scholars, let us change the trajectory of low-income students, families, communities, and more broader global communities together. Thank you so much for your attention and attendance this evening.